What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to Café de Blanc podcast number 16. Today, I have my guest, Devil May Pie. How's it going, man?
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no, thank you so much for coming by. And today, we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Village. It's been a few days now. I think most of the people that were interested in this game pretty much already played it. So the way we're going to approach this is we're not going to talk about spoilers right off the bat. In fact, I think like probably like the last 10-20 minutes can be spoilers, but the rest of this is pretty much going to be talking about the game or experience of it. Just in case anybody's listening and they haven't really experienced the game or anything, we're not really going to talk about spoilers until much later. So if you want to stick around, no worries, there's not going to be any spoilers. So yeah, how exciting is to get a Resident Evil game every year for the last 4 years, since 2016, 17, right? We've pretty much been
Yeah,
getting a Resident Evil game every year, and it's not like Call of Duty or any of like the EA games where it's like they're almost the same. Like we're talking about, these games are pretty different. Like I don't know, Resident Evil Village 7, 2, and 3 are like inherently very different games, and the quality of the games is there. Like people can say whatever they want about Resident Evil 3, which I know was like a little bit shorter, but every game has had like its own stuff. Like I don't know, I am very impressed with everything, and I don't know, Capcom has been doing a great job. What do you think about all that?
oh yeah, they've been like hitting out of the park every year, and what you said was correct. All of them feel very different, and even two and three, even though they're slightly similar, they all have their own cool mechanics. And you know me, I'll defend RE3 remake to death. Like people give that game way too much crap, and they say it's a terrible game when it's like far from it. I mean, it's not as good as two remake, but like that game's also really amazing. So. But yeah, just I think even not with Resident Evil games, all their other ones as well with Monster Hunter. So I think they just figured out with their new engine, and it's like very well optimized. Like I played two and three remake on PC. My gaming laptop is not that strong, but it's like runs super well. And from everything I've been hearing from Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, that one's been amazing as well. So I think they just like have everything very organized, and they have multiple teams. So the RE4 remake, I think, is being worked on by the RE3 remake team. So that one's gonna come out possibly next year, if not like early 2023. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna
yeah.
come very quick.
No, for real. I am just really impressed with everything. Like you were saying, not only like Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, like like how they
Yeah.
released the 5, and then they did the enhanced one for PS5. And I don't know if you played the PS5 game, but it's like it runs like 120 FPS on the PS5. Like it's crazy stuff. I'm actually like really impressed with like the engine itself is like a wonder. Like I don't know, like I don't know how they figure it out, but it's like it like it looks really good. The lightning is really nice, and it just overall it is really well made. Like it looks fantastic. It like I will even pair it against something like the engine that Square Enix uses for their Final Fantasy games, which is also like really good looking, and you can say like you can see like the high fidelity and quality of the games and everything. So I'm very happy. I'm like I as a consumer, as somebody that's been a fan of Capcom for years, I am 100% happy with what they've been doing. So hopefully they can keep on going with everything they've done. To go back about Resident Evil 3 real quick, I think a lot of people don't realize when they talk shit about Resident Evil 3. Honestly, Resident Evil 3 isn't like even close to the best Resident Evil game. Like so, like when people are like, "Oh man, Resident Evil 3 wasn't that good," I'm like, "Well, original Resident Evil 3 wasn't that good either." The only
Yeah,
advantage of it, the only
people
advantage.
have short term memories. Like I mean, I like Resident Evil 3 fine, but people like hold it in such a high pedestal. Like it was a fine Resident Evil game. People act like it's like an all time classic when it wasn't. So like
Right.
I don't know what they were expecting.
Right. Like Resident Evil, like you can't, like if I were to put it like that, like Resident Evil 2 was like like the original Resident Evil 2 was like a classic, but Resident Evil 3 wasn't really like it. Like even if you like look at it like that, Resident Evil 3 wasn't actually the Resident Evil 3. Which by the way, when are we getting Code Veronica the remake? That's Resident Evil 3 right there. Like,
Don't get me don't let me get started on Code Veronica. I got a lot of hate on my my tier list video because I'm much I shit on Code Veronica. Out of
did
all
you
the
really?
games, yeah, out of all the games that could use a remake the most, it's freaking Code Veronica. All right,
Oh,
and I'll be all
it
for it.
is. Like, I don't necessarily like. I'm not gonna defend or anything. It's just it's a product of its time, just like Resident Evil 3. Which is funny how
Mm.
Resident Evil 3 and Code Veronica were pretty much made at the same time, but somehow Resident Evil 3 came out on the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1, but then on the GameCube, but then Code Veronica came out on the PS2. It's just a contractual thing. Like, it's just because of the because Capcom was stupid and they just started making contracts with everybody. Like, oh, Nintendo wants some games, so we're gonna make them a shitty Game Boy game.
Yeah, yeah, they were notorious for that back in the early late '90s, early 2000s. They're just like, here, game for everyone, and they got in a lot of trouble, especially with the GameCube, where like they promised the GameCube way too many games.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they even had to like re-release Resident Evil 4 in like different variants of it. Like, I don't know if people know, but Resident Evil 4, every re-release that they did is slightly different. Like, he does have like some differences, and it's just because of contractual issues that they had with Sony and Nintendo, where they were like supposed to release games, and I'm like, yo, just like trying to be sneaky about it.
Yeah,
uh,
good old Capcom.
Oh man! But now going to Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil Village is an interesting take on the Resident Evil formula because it isn't it's like going back to the franchise through, like, I guess one of the biggest Resident Evil games, which is Resident Evil 4. But at the same time, it does have like its own thing, and it does, like, you can see inspirations from like other modern horror games. Like, you can see inspirations from like PT, from with other Resident Evil games that they have released afterwards. I don't know. There's like all this Resident Evil Village is like this massive amalgamation of like all these different horror games and everything, and it does a lot of really interesting aspects to it. What was your favorite, like, also like part of Resident Evil Village? Like, it's like a Frankenstein of like, which is funny because they do have like Frankenstein references in here. So like,
Yeah.
like, what is your favorite part of Resident Evil in Village in like a gameplay aspect? Like, there's like all these different stuff to it that they added to it.
Right, right. Yeah, so the interesting thing with Village, like I really compared it's kind of sound kind of weird, like RE6 tried to do it before where they trying to be like the greatest hits of all the games and borrow elements, and that one in my opinion failed in almost all those regards. It tried to be everything at once, but none of them work. While this one is more of a celebration, and I think they kind of nailed like all the best parts of the other games. Of course, they kept the first person from 7. Biggest inspiration was from 4, obviously, and actually I think since 4 is my favorite game in the series, I think that's why I like this one so much.
Right.
Of course, with the inventory management, the tons of weapons and customization, like it's definitely progressed from 7. So, of course, it's more action, and for some, I can see why that could be a turn off. But I think they have enough bits and pieces of other things, like kind of like the PT stuff, and then we got the pursuers, Lady D, like kind of like Nemesis. So just all these little things that add up to be like great amalgamation of like a huge celebration of the series.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. It's just like these they managed to do kind of like a respect and honor of the series. Like you were saying, like with Resident Evil 6, where they tried to do that, but it just came out like completely wrong, like all the different aspects and everything. And then 8 really just, I don't know. I don't even feel like calling it 8 is accurate, really, because we don't know whether there's another Resident Evil 8 coming out there. Capcom has said a couple, many times that this is not Resident Evil 8. This is Resident Evil Village, which makes me think that there is gonna be a Resident Evil 8 that is not this game. But we can talk about this later on in maybe like the spoilers and everything. But I really think that this is definitely not 8 as much as like a preface to actually building up to Resident Evil 8. But again, we can talk about this in a later time. But to me, like the aspects that I love the most, like you said, is the Resident Evil 4 aspects. Resident Evil 4 is like, I have a lot of nostalgia for. I have like so much nostalgia for that for Resident Evil 4. Like, I grew up playing Resident Evil 4 all the
Yeah.
time. I was like in high school when I was playing this game, and I remember like staying up night after night just playing it and
Mhm.
replaying it. Playing the mercenaries, trying to unlock all the weapons and everything. It just did like so much for me as far as like the series and everything. And coming back to Village and like seeing all this Resident Evil 4 references and like the gameplay, the gunplay is also similar, but at the same time has like Resident Evil 7 aspects, like obviously first person perspective and um, other aspects that obviously are unique to this game. I don't know. I really love like the combination of the both. Like even some weird aspects that they added to these games, like the cooking, for example. Like
Yeah,
I
I really like that. I didn't expect that at all. I think it really works well.
yeah, I think it not only does it work well, but it also fits like the Duke, because like a chubby guy that is just like sitting there and everything, and she's like, he's gonna cook food for you if you bring him items and supplies, and you're like, it just makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like out of the expectation or anything. It feels like so natural that they brought into it. And then obviously, like the fact that you can like customize your weapons and like honestly, there's like so many weapons in this game, and what I love is like whether it's the first or second weapon that you get, whether it's from the shotgun and up, every weapon that you find has like a beautiful design. It's not just like
Oh
a
yeah, it's so
shotgun.
good.
It's not just like a rocket launcher. It's not just like a magnum. No, each one of them is like beautifully designed with like golden like swirls and like a Victorian looking weapon and everything like that, and like the style of the of different weapons. Like they literally like made the a team for the weapons that like went well with like the theme of the game and everything. And honestly, like that itself like made me more like happy of like, oh man, I can't wait to see the next weapon. Like from the
Yeah.
moment I picked up a shotgun, I was like, holy shit,
And
like like in all Resident Evil games where like you basically literally like I kept thinking in my head, like Resident Evil style, like, oh, this guy died with a rifle. Let me go pick up the rifle. There's no rifle and everything, but then you go and like buy a rifle, and it's like a really nice looking. I'm sorry, you find a rifle. And it's like a really nice looking rifle. It's not just like some like random trash that you found from the floor or anything like that. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was wondering. I don't know if you got to check the list of weapons. There's so many unlockable ones I haven't gotten to use yet. Through the in-game store or whatever.
Oh
Once you
yeah,
beat the
yeah.
game, you get all these points, and there's like so many cool ones. There's even a lightsaber. I saw some kind of lightsaber. I really want to check that one out.
Oh,
So
dude, the
my
lightsaber.
favorite.
We'll talk about the lightsaber in
Yes.
a second. Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay, you got it. But yeah, my favorite gun design, even though it's not the best Magnum, it was the first Magnum you picked up called the Wolf's Bane. Like that one has like a beautiful design, like that revolver. Oh, it was so good.
Oh, dude, yeah,
I was like
I
spinning it
love the
around, examining
revolver,
it.
and you
Yeah.
can even get an extra. You can buy an upgrade for it, which gives you a sixth or seventh bullet. I don't remember, and I just love the design of it. It's beautiful. Like it's black with like the golden inscriptions on it and everything. It's like really well made. And speaking of the lightsaber, by the way, it's a double-sided lightsaber, but you can use one or both if you decide or anything like that. But
Like
in
a
order to
Darth Maul kind of thing.
yeah, and you can change the colors too. You can either get red or blue. But in order to be able to even get the lightsaber, you have to get a double S rank on every mercenary's mission, and it's
Oh.
really hard. Like I'm not even close to getting that. So I'm like, ah man, it's
I'm
gonna.
not good at I'm not good at mercenaries, so I probably won't get it.
Okay, well, and I'm going to talk about mercenaries too. We can do this later. Okay, but
Yeah.
I really love mercenaries in this game. Have you gotten a chance to play it a little bit?
I played only the first two levels. I haven't gotten a long time. I played through the campaign three times, like all like back to back. So I haven't put that much time into mercenaries,
All
but
right,
I
yeah.
plan to. It's been fun so
I would
far.
love to play more of the game. Like I want to sit down and like do some speed runs and everything, but like I'm like so busy with other stuff and everything, and
Yeah.
I'm like, we more games are coming out. You know, we have this game, and I'm working on a review for Nocturne. I'm just like swamped with like so many other stuff. I'm like, I really just
Yeah,
want to
right.
sit down and like play more Village, but like time won't allow me to.
Yeah, why couldn't these games come out earlier in the year? You know, when
You
we had
know,
nothing to play.
and that's one thing that it really pisses me off because for 3 months since February, since Persona 5 Strikers, I really
Yep.
had nothing to play.
Same.
So
Same,
like
man.
we're talking about like what's already May, like literally 3 months, and there's like nothing going on for 3 months, and I'm like, I really want more games to come out, and then suddenly we have Resident Evil Village, we had Nearer, we had what else do we have? Obviously,
Returnal. Some people play Returnal. I haven't gotten to
Returnal.
that one yet.
Honestly, I'm not even
Yeah.
touching Returnal. I'm not into the. No, one has to know what you like and not. Like I do
Yeah.
step out of my comfort zone every once in a while, even with things or like games that I like. But like there's one genre that I do not like, and that's the what is the Returnal
Ro-
genre? The roguelike.
roguelike. Roguelike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not into that style of gameplay at all. And like I'm not gonna put myself through like the torture, I guess if you wanna call it that, where I'm like not enjoying myself in the game. Like I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't find them enjoyable. You die a lot and then you like lose your you lose some of your equipment and you get like you have to start over again. But that's the game itself. Like I kept reading comments and I kept seeing people getting mad about it. I'm like, yo, the moment you read it's a roguelike, if you know what a roguelike is, if you're not gonna enjoy it unless you're into those kind of games. Like I kept
Yeah.
seeing a lot of people getting mad about it. Like people kept getting mad because they couldn't save. I'm like, yeah, have you ever played a roguelike?
Yeah. That's what you sign up for. But I
Yeah,
haven't played too
exactly.
many myself, so I can't really speak with a
Well,
lot of authority.
even if like not necessarily a roguelike, but the Dark Souls games are also in a sense roguelike. Like a lot of the stuff kind of works the same way. So like if you played a Dark Souls game and you really cannot save until you go to the next bonfire. So it's pretty much
Yeah.
the same here, where you can't
Yeah,
really save
but
until.
with that one, there's more real progression. The boss stay dead, and you can kind of level up. So it's more of an RPG than anything. It's just you lose your souls kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, but
That's why I like those more. Yeah.
yeah, but you can definitely like if you lose your souls, you can't really upgrade. So
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
also like part of like the thing you can upgrade your stuff and everything, and you can literally just like die a million times. But it's a different concept of it. That's why I like Dark Souls games. But like if you put it like roguelikes are more unforgiving or forgiving than Dark Souls. I like even Dark Souls sometimes. Like if you put them back to back, like I don't know. I feel like I like the concept of Dark Souls more than I do of the roguelike. So I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one that Sony like put so much like hype behind that game because I don't know. I think a lot of people were disappointed. I think that game was a product of its own hype when it came to like the scores that he got on everything. Because he got a pretty good score from like the critical reception. When it came to like the people playing the game and everything, I don't think everybody was like super excited to like play the game once they find out what
Well,
kind of game it
well,
was.
the problem with that game is it had technical issues where it's a type of genre where you can't afford to have that kind of issues. Where
Right.
you're already losing progress from dying, but when you're not dying from your own fault, but the game's crashing, that's a huge issue.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. That reminds me of another Sony game that had also issues. Days Gone. Did you ever play that game?
No, I've not never gotten to that one.
Okay, so Days Gone when it released, it had frame rate issues. Having frame rate issues in a shooter is a nightmare because you're literally moving and the game like I get it. I get it. The game features like hundreds of zombies like chasing at you like a horde style. Like there are literally hordes of zombies coming at you and everything. So I'm sure whenever they thought of the idea, they probably could have imagined that they were gonna have some frame rate issues or something. But yeah, like it was really bad. Like I will die over the fact that like the frame rate was bad, and I'll be like, why? Luckily they fixed that, but like I feel like they fixed it too late. You know, like people are already kind of like, it's kind of like the which I know you and I both play that game as well. Like the fixes came, but the people had already moved on from the complaining about the game by the time that the fixes came around. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you only get one chance at first impression, so you gotta have it strong right out of the gate.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's where like going back to Resident Evil, like that's how like it's just they've just been nailing it every single game. Like I haven't played a game in a long time where like every iteration of the game that I play, they just keep nailing it. At least for me personally, like everything about it is just like, oh my god, they just nailed it again with Village. Like everything from like the story perspective, from like the gameplay and everything, it just feels really polished. Like I experienced zero bugs through my entire playthrough. Speaking of like performance and everything, like it gaming on PlayStation 5
Yeah.
just played so smooth. Are you playing it on PS5 or PS4?
PS5, absolutely. I haven't looked too much into the PS4 version, but I know that one definitely does not hit the 60 frames. It's
Hmm.
has a weird frame rate target, which is 45. I don't know if it's a locked one or if it's like jump up and down. But on my PS5, I had it. I don't know if I have. I think I turned off ray tracing because I wanted a steady 60. But yeah, I had absolutely no issues, no
Oh,
crashes.
by the way,
Beautiful game.
one thing that I want to mention about ray tracing doesn't really work too well on this game, and it's not because of the ray tracing itself. It's because the RE engine already does the lightning really well. Like I saw some people like making
Yeah.
posts about it, and they're like, "Oh, I can barely tell the ray tracing." That's good, guys. That means that Capcom did a really good job at doing the lighting already. You know, like that's why you can't tell a difference. There's some games, for example, I don't know, like there are some games in PC where you turn on the ray tracing and you can see like there's a huge difference on like ray tracing or enough. But if you do it in any of the Resident Evil games or like if you do it on Devil May Cry, for example, the ray tracing is like barely noticeable, and it's just again because of the lightning. It's all about what the light source is, and um, it just looks well, and it's just I don't know. Somebody said Salazar Naruto 52. What's going on? Is there an issue with the stream or anything?
Yeah, maybe I listen to playback. My internet's just still be good. Video quality, which shouldn't matter because it's an audio podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stream go down.
No, I don't think so.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't listened back on my end, but
Yeah,
we
I saw
can
him
continue.
comment something and I was like, oh, is there an issue or anything? I just wanted to make sure that there is no issue or anything. Sometimes I do have issues, but you know, I used Streamlabs and they give me notices when there's like an issue on like the connection system or anything like that.
Yeah, like going to red or something or
Yeah,
green.
yeah,
Yeah,
you literally see that like the drops in the or like the dips, I will say. So yeah, just keep an eye on it, guys. If there's any issues, please let me know. But yeah, not Resident Evil. I'm sorry. Devil May Cry also had like the enhanced version of it with like ray tracing and everything, and some people also just made a notice about it. Where like they were like, oh, you know, you can barely tell. I'm like, yeah, that's because the RE engine does a really good job with it. You know, like that's it's not the other way around. It's not that the ray tracing is bad. It's just that the RE engine does a really good job at light sourcing. That's like a call like not even a bad problem to have. I say.
yeah. Some people expect it to be like a mirror. They want to see their own reflection on everything, and that's that's not always a good thing. It's just they pick their spots where they want that to shine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And all the things are like things like the fire, or like really big sources of light, and like the shadows. I don't know. People, I feel like they don't even know what ray tracing is. They just hear it, you know, like it's like a marketing thing. Like they see it on the box of the
Yeah.
PlayStation 5. They're like, oh, ray tracing, you know. But one thing that I want to comment on the performance side of the Resident Evil Village that I almost feel like is almost like a good selling point for this game on the PS5 is the adaptive triggers.
Oh
Oh my
yeah,
god, the
absolutely.
adaptive triggers make the experience of the game like much better. I wish that this game was in like VR with the adaptive triggers. I can only imagine like
I,
the whole experience like being
I,
like.
I'm like 99% certain when the next VR comes out, whatever the next version, they're gonna have a VR mode for this game. It's definitely gonna happen.
Oh, it gotta happen because honestly, this game feels like it needs a VR, just because of Resident Evil 7 was also VR, but on
Yeah,
the adaptive triggers
yeah,
technology for it, it's not just. I know a lot of people confuse it with like the technology for the Xbox Elite controller, which is like a stopper for like the
mm,
guns and stuff, but this is not it, like it's a software and hardware thing where you like you squeeze the triggers and you literally feel the resistance for it. One of my favorite moments, and no spoilers, but at some point you get like this massive tank looking weapon that you use, and not
oh
for a
yeah,
long
yeah, yeah,
time, and when you are using the machine gun side, you are literally hitting the like it's like, and it's like, and it's just not like vibration. It's sure there's vibration to it, but it's like the trigger itself, like you're hitting the resistance every time that you're shooting it, and it feels so good. Like it's not just like a gimmick tool. Like it feels, it adds to the experience. That to me is like a different thing altogether than when it comes to like a gimmick. Like for example, this the Switch sense
yeah.
or whatever that thing, that's a gimmick. The
Yeah,
wo-
absolutely.
yeah.
No,
the-
shake the ice in a glass or whatever.
yeah, like the ice in the glass thing or whatever, that's a gimmick. That like, and then obviously like it honestly can hinder your experience. Like I played The World Ends With You on Switch, and he's fucking awful. I don't know why. Like I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to use the sensing thing or whatever, but it's shit.
Yeah.
It's just really bad. But the adaptive triggers and like the dual sense on the PS5 just works so well. Like I know some people have complained about the pricing of the controllers being like $79. I'm like, yo, Nintendo sells you their crappy controllers for more than 79,
And they don't work.
and they don't
They
work.
drift. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to
So no.
replace them. Like I'm already on my third pair of the controllers.
Yeah, I have a Switch Lite, so I hope mine doesn't go bad because I'll have to replace my system or
Oh
send
man,
it in to get
oh
fixed.
I
Yeah.
think I heard somebody has already found some workaround with the drift, because there is drift on it too. But I think some people have already found like ways to fix it and everything. So I think it should
Yeah.
be fine.
But so another aside, you played Astrobot, right?
Astrobot. Oh yeah, yeah
Uh,
I did. Yeah.
yeah. So just between these two games, like I'm already sold on the DualSense and the the whole controller. So like it's not a gimmick. It's like if the devs do it right, and depending on the kind of game, it can really work and like enhance the experience. Like it really makes it feel like a next gen experience.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. It really feels like Xbox should like invest into like getting the technology over to them, because it
Mhm.
really, especially because there's so many shooters on Xbox. Like that's a thing, right? Like there's a lot of shooters on the Xbox side. Like
Yeah.
you have the Gears of War and Halo. That already, like if those games had the adaptive trigger, I'm sure like every developer will just jump on board with the idea of it. It just works really well. It's not just a gimmick. It feels really nice, and in this game, it really adds to the experience. It almost makes me feel like every time that I got it, I'm like, I wonder when I get the next weapon, what is that gonna feel like? And every
Mhm.
single weapon feels different. Like you actually,
Yeah.
if you flip between the weapons, you're able to flip between four weapons at a time. When you flip between them, you can actually hear the motors of the controller like changing gears or something.
Yeah, it's like little clicks. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's like,
remember definitely noticed it.
and you
Yeah.
can like, and whenever you squeeze them, even between shotguns, it's not the same resistance. Like the original shotgun is obviously like easier because it's like a smaller shotgun. But whenever you get like the higher variations of shotguns that you can get, you can actually feel like a different resistance to the shooting and everything. And you not only do you feel resistance when you shoot, you also feel resistance when you aim, and a
Yeah.
combination between both of them and everything. It just feels really good. Like it's the technology is like really advanced, and it feels like you were saying, like really next gen. But honestly, like it's easily one of the biggest like selling features for this game, at least on
So
PS5. Like
I have.
Go ahead.
I have a funny story about the adaptive triggers. So I played on hardcore on my first run, and I think the triggers worked too good because by the time I got to the final boss, right, and the final boss was tough on hardcore.
Oh,
So
it is. Yeah.
my hands got so yeah. So the sniper rifle is like the most resistant one. So like aiming the sniper rifle to shoot that, and after dying to the boss like 5 6 times, like man, it works too well. I have to turn it off because my hand is killing me, and that's a compliment. So I just thought that was pretty cool. I
Yeah.
had to like
No.
shut it off because it was like working too well. Yeah, because I have to
you know.
retry so many times.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny, but it's really well made. I don't know. The technology is there. I don't know if it's really hard to explain too, because when people hear it, it does feel like a really gimmicky thing. But when you are actually like putting your hands and like try it out, it's just so much. It's so much more. I don't know. I can sing all the praises I want about the controller, but going back to Village, Resident Evil Village.
Yeah,
um, I don't know. The gameplay. There's one thing that I love about the game itself too, and I don't really want to specifically talk about story details, but there's all these sections. I'll say there's about what 4, 6 sections of the game.
yeah,
Yeah, and each section is like a different horror story. Like you can see that there's influences from like different genres or different games or anything like that. Whereas definitely the village and the castle is supposed to be like more geared towards. Uh, well, the village is definitely Resident Evil 4, but then like the castle is more like Resident Evil 1. You know, with the
yeah. The
with the
Spencer
mansion and
Mansion. Yeah,
everything like that. It's like there's a lot of callbacks to it and everything like that. But then like you have like the swamp area, and then you have the Benevento's house, which we're not really going to talk about for spoiler purposes and everything. And then you have like this factory, and each one of them feels like its own thing. But I want to talk about like the enemy variety as well. Like there is so many enemies in this game, and you don't feel like repeated. Like every area, like in Resident Evil 4, for example, they had some enemy variety, but it was like the same kind of thing. Like there's a guy that
yeah,
has a weapon that throws it at you. There's a guy that
yeah.
shoots at you. There's
It was
the
all. It was always the same Ganado, pretty much up until like we go to that island and they like start throwing more combative enemies at you. So
yeah.
yeah, this one like it's like you never get tired. Well, I guess maybe the factory part, but we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, yeah. The factory part is like I don't know. I think it overstays it. Welcome, like if he had, and
Yeah,
I know some people are like, "Oh man, this game is so short." Yeah, but by the time that you're in the factory part, I don't know if they should have like split the factory part in like 2 sections, maybe like an actual factory and maybe like something else uh, inside the factory or something like that, like another different map altogether or something. But I don't know. It feels like I think the factory is like it works on its own well until you have to go back and forth between levels and like do stuff and like
yeah.
find.
It's
Uh,
it's one where like I didn't like I don't mind backtracking, but for the factory I was like okay, like you kind of like I get it, I gotta get this key, and so you kind of like all right, I gotta fight this guy again. So
right,
like by the end of the game, that's not really like a level that's like fun to explore, like I didn't care for the enemy types there as well, but
right,
it's a
right.
very small nitpick. I mean, it's not as terrible as people say, but it is one of my least favorite parts about the game.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And like I feel like maybe more mini bosses in between could have probably like added a little bit more. I don't want to say padding, but it could have probably added a little bit more experience and everything. Because it does feel like by the end of it, like they're really just like dragging its feet as far as like, oh, you're gonna fight like this enemy, and then like, oh, it's a mini boss. But then you start finding more of the same thing, and I'm like, oh, it's not a mini boss. It's just a boss. It's just an enemy you're gonna
Yeah.
encounter here a lot. So I don't know. This got I don't know. Again, like you said, it's like a really small nitpick, but I do want to praise them for like the enemy variety because every
Yeah,
area does feel like its own separate thing. But the
and
same
that's
thing.
what I really don't like about a seven, because seven really it was just the same black, moldy, globby guys. It's like
Oh
all
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
same enemies the whole
definitely.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, I think like 7 was supposed to be like more like compact to a specific like small story, and it does feel like it's more like you never really truly leave the mansion, or like I don't really want to call it a mansion, like the house, I guess if you want to say it, until like the very end. But village is like I love the idea of literally they call it village because village is a hub, and between the
Yeah,
different aspects, you like it's almost like it's as open world as you can get in a Resident Evil game.
yeah.
Without
It's so well designed. Yeah,
yeah,
all the shortcuts and everything,
yeah.
so good.
Now I want to say this, and I want to kind of I don't know if you will agree with this, but I really wish they had done this for the Resident Evil 3. Because Resident Evil 3 is
Mm.
like really linear, but if they had done like a hub city area around Raccoon City, and maybe like, did you ever play the Resident Evil Outbreak games?
No, that's one of the few I've never played. I really want. I wish I could have played back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, so Resident Evil Outbreak has mini stories there are different scenarios that happen around Raccoon City. So one thing they could have done is like have the main area where Jill is exploring, and then have these hub areas where you can kind of go and fight different bosses and like go to different areas, so that it feels like you're almost like open world, but not really, where you explore different parts
Yeah.
of the city or something. Because what happens is they try to do that at first, but it's obviously a really linear game, so that your time in the city is actually not as long as they wish it was, because the story has to move forward and you have to do stuff and everything. So like it doesn't really work well enough. But if they had done something like this in this game, where there's like this do you have a downtime in this game where you literally can go hunt, you can go explore the village, you can go unlock
Oh, I
different
love
doors.
that.
This is one of my and you know what, they took this from one of my other favorite series as of late, which is the Evil Within, which is also made by the creator of Resident Evil 4. If you guys didn't know, did you ever play the
Yeah.
Evil Within?
I did the first one. I didn't care for it when I played it, but I didn't put enough time into it. But I do want to get back to it though.
Okay, so Resident Evil. I'm sorry, the Evil Within 2 has the same hub area that Village has, where basically you
Mm.
have like this area where you're unlocking stuff, and as the story progresses, you start unlocking other areas that connect to your main area. So like literally in the
Oh.
style of Village, which I don't know if they played the Evil Within and they were like, oh, that actually looks pretty good, so let's do that, because it's the same kind of thing. It's like you go unlock other areas and everything. But Evil Within is another story altogether. There's like pros and cons to that game particularly. But yeah, I definitely recommend you guys to play the second one. I think the second one really fixed
I,
issues
I
from the
think
first
I
game.
like it. From what I've been hearing, I think I would like the second one more. That's what
Definitely, yeah.
yeah.
Although the game does really out of the bat, they just start telling you spoilers for the first game, so you won't even be lost. Literally exposition. They just tell you everything that happened in the first game, so you don't even need to know like stuff. They just tell you everything. So it's a really Resident Evil, non-Resident Evil game. Like there's like an evil corporation behind the scenes and like all this stuff's going on. It really feels like a really Resident Evil game. Oh, welcome to SKG City YouTube. Thank you so much for subscribing. I don't know if they're around or not, but they subscribe. So, anyway, yeah. So going back to gameplay of Resident Evil, anything that caught your eye, your attention, anything you wanted to mention on the gameplay side?
Yeah, since we're talking about exploring, how do you like finding all those neat treasures and getting the money for the weapons? That's like one of my favorite parts.
You know what?
Like I don't know.
That actually surprised me a lot too, because there's so many unique things to do in this game. Like there's I the ones that I love the most, that I actually like, I was really bad at them, is where you find a special ball that you put them into these arcade looking things,
Yeah,
when you
I
have to
love
move
that
them
one.
around and everything like that to like get the ball to the hole and everything. Those are fantastic. Although I wish they will give you like weapons and stuff. They give you money, they all give you money,
Yeah,
but
I think for the next one they should have one where you get like special weapons, like the crystal to sell is cool, but like I think they should have more
yeah.
better prizes and actually maybe like a fail state because you can like keep retrying it. Maybe like they make it to where like you can mess up or something. It'll be
Yeah, maybe you
more
mess up, you lose the ball or something, and that's it. Like
yeah
you're pretty much done
yeah
with it. But I love those. I love that they also have like a really detailed map where you're kind of like to tell you, hey, there's a special treasure in this place, and you have to go and like find them and everything like that. Some of
yeah
them were really frustrating too, because some things, like for example, there were money on some of them. They were like under the bed or something like that, and you're like walking around the entire room for like 10 minutes. Like, what the hell is the item? You look above, maybe there's like a treasure or something like that, and then you look on the floor and it's just like money laying down. Like that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Like that's some of those like kind of I find a little bit frustrating. But the actual treasures and everything like that, like, oh, like look through the window, and then you look through the window and there's like numbers in
Oh,
like a specific type,
yeah.
and then yeah,
I'm sure that part got everyone when you know exactly what when it is if you played it.
yeah, yeah.
That part.
So honestly, there's like a lot of puzzles in this game. And actually, this is one of my favorite aspects because they finally found the right amount of puzzles with the right amount of action and exploration. Because that's always been one of my gripes on like some of the Resident Evil games. They either put too many puzzles or like not enough puzzles. But this game
Yeah.
has like the right amount of puzzles where you can skip the puzzle if you don't want to do it, but then you're gonna miss out on a weapon or you're gonna miss out on like something. Like, so like it's a
Yeah.
risk and reward kind of thing. Like, okay, you can figure out the puzzle, try to find a thing or whatever, or you can just not do it at all. And I mean, you're probably gonna be okay. I just like Matt, for example. I don't know if Matt's in the chat or something, but uh, he did none of the hunting for the game, and he just finished the game
What?
yesterday, and so he went and fought the final boss, and he kept dying, and I was like, man, why is this guy dying? And he went to the merchant, and I noticed that he had no buffs because he never like cooked anything with the merchant. And I was like, dude, as soon as the cooking was available, I was looking for those special monsters and everything like that. They're not special monsters, the
Yeah.
special meals, because
Animals.
there's
Yeah.
like a you can find these treasures, quote treasures, which is literally a picture of a creature, and if you find it and go hunt it, and it gives you like a special meat for them as well.
Mhm.
Like there's one I never could find. It's a bird. It's a blue bird.
Oh, that's right in front of the castle. It's before you go up to the Castle Dimitrescu. It's like on because like it's in that like you remember when you find the first wooden goat and it says don't shoot it or like bad luck will come.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
was like we're right around there. Yeah,
Oh,
but
it's
yeah, I
around
think that's
there.
kind of yeah, it's kind of cool. That
Oh,
they don't tell you exactly. I think it's kind of neat. So you're on a little scavenger hunt. Like you
right,
gotta look
right,
at the
right.
landmarks.
Well,
I did like that.
there
Yeah.
are like some of them that I killed before I even found the picture. Like
Hmm.
the pig, I had already killed the pig, and I was like, "Ah, okay, well it's cool. I found a picture for it, but I really didn't need it. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, they did a great job with like the scavenger hunting, the clues and everything. Even like at the end where you find the mold to make the ball and everything like that. That was a cool add-on thing. Like, oh, you gotta find this key to make the ball so you can unlock the the game thingy with the ball thing again or whatever. I don't know. They did a good job. I really love all the exploration in the game. Although I feel like they should have added more enemies, like maybe like a spawn system when you're exploring, because sometimes I
That
felt like I was just walking around like I already cleared this area, and like I'm not scared anymore, like walking around or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think they could have added more danger when exploring the village. I know when we finish like a new lord or new area, they'll spawn a couple more enemies. Like there's like a secret like werewolf leader boss that spawns towards the end of the game. But yeah, there weren't enough to like keep us on our toes when exploring. So that's something they can
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
improve
The,
on.
the I know exactly which one you're talking about. Which, by the way, I thought originally I had thought that what's his name, Heisenberg. I
Yeah,
thought he was the leader of the werewolves,
yeah, that's what the trailer made it seem.
and I thought he was gonna like turn into the old werewolf that you see or something like that, but he's
Mhm.
not, and I was kind of disappointed about it. No spoilers, guys, but I don't want to. I just want to say that I was kind of disappointed about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the marketing. Like actually want to commend them. They did not show a lot about this game. Like there's like so much more we didn't see. They pretty much just showed the village and like the castle and the vampire ladies, and that's it. Like they didn't really show anything else,
Oh
which I'm
yeah, and
surprised.
that's kind of I got shit in a comment that I did on Facebook. You
Mhm.
know Sphere Hunter, right?
yeah. Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah. If
watch
you
some of
follow
her
her,
videos.
yeah, follow her
Yeah,
videos too. She's a really good YouTuber, guys. If you guys want like Resident Evil content or like Devil May Cry, she does really good video essays and everything. But she made a post where she thought she like shared pictures of all the lords or whatever, and I had only seen two of them. You know, like so I was like, oh man, that's kind of spoilery because the trailers hadn't like necessarily like shown much of it. Like they masterfully shown like cutscenes, but like you don't even know who is or whatever. Like you don't know who's the boss. You don't know who's just a random
yeah,
enemy or whatever. And the trailers were specifically made in a way that is like more like a discovery thing. But when they were like, "Oh, this is the four," even the demo didn't showcase. When you go to the church, there is a picture of all the lords all together.
yeah.
But in the
The crest. Yeah,
demo, there's no pictures of the lords. They actually purposely took that off so you wouldn't know who was the boss or anything like that. Which is again a
mm,
nice thing because it does look like they were trying to make sure that people were surprised or whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm really happy with the game, especially the gameplay. It surprised me. I knew it was gonna be good, but I can't I just keep thinking about like how much fun I had with like the game and everything.
Yeah, it just feels like a natural progression, like some people like to complain, oh, it's like a lot of people are complaining the ones that haven't played or didn't play it. It's like, oh, it's not horror anymore. I don't like that it's more action, but actually it's just more scary than a lot of Resident Evil games. And I think it being first person makes a lot of things about it scary. So
Yeah,
so and
I agree with you. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have complained about like not being scary. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, sure, this game doesn't necessarily have like a lot of scary moments, but when it does try to be scary, I think it's pretty successful at it. But Resident Evil has never really been scary. Like I don't know.
no,
Like I don't know why people are like, oh, this isn't even horror anymore. It's never really been scary, guys. It never really tried to be scary. Like I don't like it's on the horror genre, obviously, but
yeah.
it's never been like Silent Hill. Like its purpose is
From
not to be spooky and
from the very first game, we were elite operatives with like weapons training with
yeah, you're like
a ton of
super
guns.
soldiers. From the beginning of the
So,
series, they've
yeah,
been super soldiers. They're like elite soldiers that are super well trained, with special weapons. Like Barry has a motherfucking magnum weapon looking thing. Like, you seen that weapon that he has? Barry's
yeah.
weapon is like a giant hand cannon. Like it,
Barry's gun,
yeah,
classic.
and it's always been over the top. It's always been silly. It's always been like, like its jokes are like so specific to Resident Evil. Like some people were talking about the quips that Ethan says whenever he defeats an enemy. I'm like, dude, Leon does the same thing. Like why are you mad about this? Like they'll
Yeah,
have these one-liners. That's part of the Resident Evil experience. So
yeah.
I don't know why some people are like, oh, like he's trying to be funny or whatever. Leon does the same stuff. Literally, there's like one time I don't remember where Leon talks about how he was like a cop for one day.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's for RE2.
Yeah, like there's like all these moments where I don't know. I just felt like people wanna complain because they think they can just complain about it. But I feel like the some of the complaints aren't really like valid. Like I understand like zombie no zombie thing or whatever. But I don't know. Like there's so many zombie games nowadays. Like I don't
And
I
we just got two Resident Evil games full of zombies. What else? What do you want?
Right, exactly like that. And not only that, but like the story progression doesn't really allow for you to move backwards like that. Like I really liked, and I don't know if we can move into spoilers now. We're almost an hour in.
Yeah,
Uh,
we can jump into that. You want to do
would you guys be?
spoiler warning?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do spoiler warning here, guys. If you haven't watched it already, because I really want to talk about some spoiler stuff from here on. And thank you everybody that has watched it so far. If you guys want to click away, I don't blame you guys for not sticking around with spoilers. But oh man, one of the things that I liked on like the that really like, and I know it's like a throwaway line kind of thing, but when you're exploring, when you're taking over as Chris, and you kind of start to find out some of the secrets with what's going on here, do you find a note with Spencer? No, Spencer. Is it Spencer?
Yeah, Oswald E. Spencer, creator
Yeah,
of Umbrella. He used
yeah.
to be a student. Yeah,
He used to be a student for Miranda, whatever. What's her name? What's her Lady Miranda
Miranda. I
or
don't.
or
Yeah, I don't know if it's the last name. We just call her Miranda.
yeah, 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 and that was to me that was like a, oh, like they're really bringing like, and the other thing is like she's an immortal, like she's lived for a long time, and you can see like why he was also trying to like live for a long time, and he's doing his own research and everything. Like a lot of you start connecting like a lot of the dots. Some people look at it and were like, oh, that's just a throwaway line, like they're trying to like, no, this really solves a lot of the implications, like what you're seeing there, why the molded will happen in Louisiana, like a lot of you start
Yeah.
connecting a lot of these dots together and everything. And I like that a lot. I thought it was a good, although there's no explicit as far as like a lot of information that they give you. They give you enough
Hmm.
information to kind of draw your own conclusions as far as like, oh, this is why Resident Evil 7 is relevant to the plot of Resident Evil overall. Because to me, I never really saw like a point of like why Resident Evil 7 like diverged, as far as like the mole and everything like that. But now like with this simple like throwaway line that they have in a letter somewhere, it really like
Yeah.
it connects it like super well to like the story and everything. So to me personally, I thought it was great that they did that. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got quite a few thoughts. So, people are never gonna like say that they love Resident Evil because of the story. It's not the most important thing. But what I do like, and I'm sure a lot of people do the same, is the lore and how it all connects and how the story carries from one game to the next. Even though how ridiculous it might be, at least they try still to try to connect it somewhat. And I do like that they establish the timeline again, and we do know that that Umbrella logo we see, it's like Oswald Spencer, he pretty much took it and made it his own. It came from this village, so I thought that was super interesting. And
Yeah,
yeah,
me too, actually. Me too. I was actually happy for that. Like, I know some people would have like been annoyed about it, but I was like, what's going on with the umbrella logo? Why is it here? But it's like the other way around, and that's when it clicked me. I'm like, oh, okay, like this has been a thing for a long time for this village. Like she's been controlling this village for centuries now, and that's why like it also made sense a lot of the aspects, like out of like the research that she had and everything like that, like the vampire lady, uh, Lady
yeah,
D,
Lady D
where like
for
you're
sure.
like, okay, like why are they saying that she's an immoral? Like we're just now in the village. Yeah, we're just now in the village, but they've been living for centuries in like the village and everything. And because Spencer talks about like how the lady is an immortal and he's trying to find his own immortality thing or whatever, which is always been a plot to Resident Evil. Like like that's the whole
Yeah,
purpose of the virus and everything.
yeah,
So like the fact that like now there's a connecting point to like how he even came about, like, oh, immortality is possible. Like people already figured this out. Like so that itself like explains so much why he will even venture as far as like doing the T virus and like all this kind of stuff. Like it all starts to like make a lot more sense. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just a throwaway line, like it's trying to connect it. I'm like, it's not just trying to connect it. It does address a lot of like the questions as far as like why he will do the things that he did and everything. And I really appreciate that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me.
yeah, absolutely. And I really like the kind of like the parallels, motivation of Miranda and even Ethan. How even though Miranda is immortal, it all comes down to her bringing back her daughter and like the lengths she's gone through to make that happen, and Ethan the lengths he's gone through to get his daughter back. So I kind of really like that dynamic. So the bad guy, even though she is immortal, that's not her goal. She just wants to get her daughter back, and she done some twisted and messed up things along the way. But I did really appreciate that parallel there.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. It does. have a lot of really big plot twists in this game. Like every time that I played an area, you're kind of like you have like a lot of questions. This game like to throw questions at you from the very beginning of the game, where you're just chilling with Mia and your daughter, and then you get attacked by Chris, and you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is going on?" You know, like, and you see it on the trailers. You know, like that's one of the things that the developers weren't like scared of because it's trying to bait you into like asking these questions and everything. And then there's like the big reveal that that wasn't actually Mia, like that was the Miranda. What do they call her? Something Miranda, like Lady Miranda, Mother Miranda.
Mother
That's what it is.
Miranda.
Yeah,
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 she's their mother. Yeah.
yeah. And like you're like it just throws like questions at you as far as like what the hell like is all this stuff going on and everything, and like all these little things like start making, although there are some questions that aren't really necessarily asked, you know, like or like answered right, like I guess the bigger one gives you like a lot of implications. um I don't know, I started feeling there was something wrong with Ethan for a while. The fact that he
Oh,
just like,
with his hands.
yeah, with his hand, because he just drops like juice and like he just drops like herb juice, and he's like, let me just reattach my hand with like
Yeah.
whenever they literally clean just like caught his hand, and he just like goes boop, and then like let me just drop some juice into it, and then we're good to go. And I'm like, he's still infected, isn't he? But like
Yeah.
nobody ever addresses that, like Chris, and I'm sure they
Mm.
did studies on him and everything. So like, there's like a lot of stuff like they does bring some questions like, did Chris know? Did they know that? And I don't. It doesn't look like Chris knew that he is in fact unmolded. Like he's been dead since Resident Evil 7. Like that to me, like that was like one of the biggest plot twists. But it also made perfect sense because like everything that happens on 7, where he keeps losing limbs, and he literally just gets reattached and everything, and you're kind of like,
Yeah, we never really think about it, right? With 7, we just like, oh, it's silly Resident Evil, still a video game, you never die, ha ha ha. But like there is a significance to all that and a reason for that, which I do appreciate that they elaborate in this one.
yeah, it's almost so like it's almost like a plot twist itself, but only to the player. Like in the Resident Evil world, like sure it's a plot twist, but the fact that you experience this over and over again, it doesn't, and you don't really think about it until you kind of like, okay, like that makes a lot of sense, you know. And it does bring again like some questions as far as like the capacity of him, like how come they didn't know he wasn't infected? Is he like a different kind of infected? Like what's so special about his daughter? They never really don't answer that question either. And I do think that Resident Evil 8 is gonna be a game about his daughter as a
You mean not 9, the next one?
no 8.
Oh,
Capcom. Okay, so here's the deal. I whenever I got invited to some events with Capcom, they sent me an email where they keep mention over and over again not to address Resident Evil Village as Resident Evil 8 because it's not.
mm,
And
yeah.
they talked about it themselves. So my thing is, I feel like this game, Resident Evil Village, is it sits where Veronica was back in the day, where they probably
Okay.
had already a contract with PlayStation, with like kind of like they have to do like a exclusive things and everything like that, and they probably didn't want to do it for 8, so they ended up just
Mhm.
having this as Village and then having actual Resident Evil 8 later on. So that's my own personal belief, like that nobody's telling me that or anything. um
Okay.
but I
I'm pretty
do.
sure. Do you agree that the next one will still be first person, the main line, whatever if they want to call it 8 or Resident Evil, some random name? I'm pretty sure it's still going to stay first person.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they found a good thing about it where it comes to like the gameplay aspect of it. Like I feel like it really works well. I think
Yeah,
it works
absolutely.
super well for it, and it makes sense. I don't know. Personally, I feel like like the game, they did a lot of wonders with the game and everything.
So
um,
you want to talk about all the different lords a little bit
yeah,
more
sure,
detail?
sure.
Because
Let's go ahead
yeah.
and jump right into that. We can start with the first one, which is Lady D. What's your thoughts on Lady
Mhm.
D and everything? The
Besides the game part, I know people are probably tired on Twitter of seeing her, but I love like how people embrace the memes, and it's just I don't know, it's just been so much fun the last couple months. Just
Yeah,
seeing people going crazy. I think it's great marketing. Like they found a hit, and yeah, I love everything about it. That part of the game in the castle is my favorite. Just because there's so much exploring, and of course the threat of being pursued by her and her daughters in different areas, and of course you can't really kill them till the actual
yeah.
boss fight.
Yeah,
So
I actually, it's really funny because to me, I I felt that they did something interesting with the castle, which they could have. I think that they could have dragged it a little bit longer,
yeah,
because I feel like they did this wrong. I feel like instead of having the factory be like the longer area, it could have been a
yeah,
castle. And I
I
feel like the
agree.
castle is just too small. Like, Lady D doesn't ever really feel like a threat. She like walks
Mhm,
around and follows you,
mhm.
but
Yeah,
she's not as menacing. And I don't mean it's like she's obviously an attractive lady, but she's not really menacing like Mr. X is on Resident Evil 2, where he literally is like,
yeah,
you don't want to go out of this room because he's right in front of that damn door, just standing there waiting for you to come out. There was one
yeah.
time that happened to me in Resident Evil 2, where I was like standing there, I was like trying to solve a puzzle, but you could hear the steps, like that was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna he's gonna
Yeah, I
get
think
me.
Out of all the recent pursuers, Mr. X was done the best, just because that's credit to the really good level design of RE2, where he shows up at the right moment, or I guess in our case, the wrong moment, right in the middle of a puzzle. So there's not too much of that. There's only one moment I remember in Village that I think that really caught me off guard was she was chasing us, and then like we run towards this room, and then we immediately fight one of her daughters, and I wasn't expecting that. That's the one I really liked. I think it was the second daughter we fought. Like she was chasing us. We go through this door, and then like boss fight stuff immediately starts. I kind of
Yeah,
like that.
I like that. I think that I also like to fight the daughters, like the whole thing about the cold, because you don't really know about it, but you find a document that where the research happens, and you see like,
Mhm.
oh, like they're weak to cold or whatever, and then you're like, okay, well now I know I have to open the doors to, or like the windows to like fight them or whatever. Did you ever read that? There's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
file that you read.
Yeah, I definitely read all the documents. I think because the type of insects that they spawn from there. Yeah, I think below anything below 10 degrees or something, they'll immediately die.
Yeah, so like fighting those kind of things, and then like going through a boss battle and everything, you're like, oh, okay, like now you know how to beat them and everything like that. Although I feel like that itself was like a waste opportunity. I feel like they could have just easily dragged it more longer, where they're coming at you more aggressively. And I haven't played the Village Shadows, or what is it called, the hardest difficulty.
Village of Shadows.
In
Yeah.
Village of Shadows, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if the enemies are more aggressive there. But definitely on the hard difficulty, they didn't really feel like they were aggressive.
No, I think with the hardest difficulty, of course they'll kill you faster, and they take more hits to kill. The with that difficulty, it's more of enemy spawns. They'll spawn more enemies where it didn't before. So certain parts where it's kind of quiet, there'll be like three grouped up, or like there'll be like armored werewolves where there wasn't before. So that's where the next
Oh, okay,
difficulty
okay.
comes in.
All
Yeah.
right, okay. Oh man, that's kind of a disappointing, but I don't know. Maybe a smarter AI could have been a little bit better. It's kind of dumb. I don't mean to like. I mean it with all my love, but the AI in this game isn't like super
Yeah.
smart or anything like that. Like it's kind of like it's pretty mild for some reason. Like even like Lady D, which she does like have these lines where she expresses frustration because you kill her daughters and stuff. She
Yeah.
doesn't really like come at you like more aggressively. It would have been like a nice feature, like every time that you kill one of her daughters, she like comes more aggressive at you, like follows you
Yeah.
around more. That would have been like a good like gameplay aspect that ties well into the story. But it doesn't really happen. Like she just like, oh, you killed my daughter or whatever, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
But nothing really
Yeah.
like comes out of it or something like that.
And
uh
that goes back to what you said about the castle. I think even though the castle it's pretty decent size, I think it should have been a little bit bigger for moments like that, because there are a lot of parts of the castle where she can't access. Like in the sewers with all the druid looking things, and then on the roof. So
Yeah.
if she was available to attack you in more areas, I think that would have worked well. But I think she's very limited in
Yeah,
her
it, it,
positioning.
it would have been cool if she just popped out of nowhere too. Like
Yeah,
in Jack in Seven, he literally breaks walls and he comes at you. Like
yeah. Mr. X did that too at
yeah,
some part.
exactly. Yeah, so like that kind of stuff could have like made it even seem more aggressive. Even if it wasn't super aggressive, it will still add to the adrenaline of like, oh, I gotta move and get this done and over with. But you have plenty of chance to like unlock puzzles and walk around. And like I was no longer concerned about her. Like at some point, I was just kind of like walking around, like, and like she's not gonna follow you around to like the merchant either. Like she will be standing right there. I will just go by the merchant, and she's already gone because she already went to another area. Because she's programmed to walk around instead of like waiting, looking for you or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a missed opportunity. Lily has like so little screen time. Although she was like really beloved by like fans and everything, but everything
Mhm.
that they showcase is pretty much everything that you see of her, other than minus the boss battle, maybe.
Yeah. One funny like it's supposed to be serious, but every time she says that, I kind of crack up. She goes like, "You stupid man thing." I don't know. I just find that line kind of funny whenever she
Ah,
says
yeah,
that.
it is pretty funny. Yeah, I agree with that too. Whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's just so stupid. Like I don't even mean it like in a bad way. It just sounds dumb. It sounds like a dumb line. So like I
Yeah.
hear it, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
That,
guess.
I guess it does go with the story of that castle, because if you read the files, all the staff were women. I think they just never employed any men staff in the castle, and I guess when they misbehaved, they would drain their blood and make it into wine. So I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff that you find as you read the files, which it's always been a Resident Evil thing. Like I'm not gonna praise this game too much in that because it's pretty much a Resident Evil thing. Like it's always a thing on
Yeah.
Resident Evil games, but the amount of stuff that you find and everything. Now let me talk about one thing that I thought it was interesting. A while ago, like a good bit ago, there was this rumor that there was gonna be a girl that it was gonna be kind of like a companion to this game,
Hmm.
like in the style of Resident Evil,
Like Ashley.
like Ashley, yeah, which was this girl that you meet at the very beginning of the game with the father.
Yeah, they killed her off pretty quick.
They kill her off pretty quick, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, isn't she supposed to be like your companion?" Because that was a rumor back in the day. Like that was a thing that they had mentioned that it was gonna happen and everything. But like, it's never really like it doesn't really ever pan out like that. And I thought that was really
Mhm.
funny. Not because I wanted her to be like a companion or anything like that, but because I thought it was funny that people kept saying that she was gonna be like
Yeah.
relevant to the story or something. You ever remember that?
I remember seeing her a lot in the trailer, so I did think she was gonna be more part of the story, but I didn't remember hearing about that part, if she was gonna be cut or not. But she did feature prominently on the trailer, so maybe they had to change of plans. I think you just got a super chat, by the way.
Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so super chat
Yeah.
from Demicro. Thank you so much for $2 support. I really appreciate it. He says I'm getting eight when it's cheaper. I ain't a horror guy. You know what?
Uh,
This game is there's only one area where you can really see the horror. Other than that,
mm.
you're good to go, man. Like this isn't a scary game, but by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
Uh,
got so many guns to shoot people with. I don't know. I don't think you should be too scared.
yeah,
Besides
like
this one part, which we're about to talk to soon about
yeah,
soon.
yeah, we're about to talk about an area particularly where there is a scary part, but other than that, man, you're good to go. Even even I am not a horror guy per se. Like I'm not into horror games or anything. But there is one area where I'm gonna sing praises to this because
Yeah.
they did some pretty interesting stuff. So the second boss battle is the Benevento's house. Now, to me, I had the wrong impressions on this because I expected a more action sequence in this one, but what we got instead was a more Silent Hills inspired area. It's like it's full of puzzles, it's full of like exploration and like finding out what's going on and everything. And there are like different types of horror mixed in this, which actually kind of like surprised me quite a bit. Um, because at times he does feel more like a uh, like a Silent Hill games, but then at times it feels like Annabelle, like the movie Annabelle.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, that's the one with the dolls, right? Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard of it.
yeah, yeah. It does feel like there's like a sequence where literally like with all the dolls and everything like that, like
Mhm.
straight up from the movie. So like that to me was kind of like a nice like callback to the
Yeah.
movie and everything. So I like that. I like that. I know some people might have not, but I particularly thought it was a pretty cool idea.
No,
Uh,
it's really neat. It's a good change in gameplay. It's only one section of the game, so like it'll always be like a special part. I think whenever people come back, of course, it won't be as scary a second time, but I think it's one that like I don't know we'll probably live on in Resident Evil history, and one I want them to bring back in some way. Maybe not the exact same, but try to make it like a section kind of like this. I think would be pretty cool in the next one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it does because it does feel like this area just almost made me feel sad for one of these other games I'm a fan of, which is the Silent Hill games. Now, if you guys don't know, Silent Hill had a chance to have a revival with a demo called PT. Uh, I
Oh yeah,
I have some gameplay of it. If you guys are interested in it, I'll be happy to share along with you guys. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But the idea of it was that where you were stuck in this house and it had a loop where you just kind of the loop just goes game the player is just walking around. It's like in this corridor and it's just going back and forth with that, and then you start unlocking things and it just starts to become really scary and everything. The game itself is actually like not long because it's a PT is short for like a playable trailer, basically just a demo for the next Silent Hills game. Unfortunately, Hideo Kojima, who was working on the game at the time, was let go by Konami, or he left Konami, and the project never really panned out. So like it's really disappointing to me because I like playing this. It just reminded me of like the good stuff from that game. I don't know. I every time that I think about Silent Hills, I'm like, oh man, what could have been from that?
yeah. I don't know. Konami gotta be kicking themselves like for losing on that potential. Because when they see this now and how successful it can be, and like they probably think, man, we can do this or even better. And now Resident Evil just kind of like outdid us, and like they're making tons of money with this one. We're just still making pachinko machines, so it's just kind of shame the
Yeah,
state of
I
Konami's
don't know. I,
IPs.
I have like so many thoughts on Konami because they done some really stupid decisions, and it just they continuously just like kick themselves in the teeth. And, like every time that they do something, I'm like, y'all just like making stupid decisions after stupid decisions.
Yeah, they have so many great IPs. I wish they would just like sell them off or like license it to people. It's just like sitting there and being wasted or not being used at all.
Oh yeah, I saw a rumor a while ago about no, Resident Silent Hills that Sony is licensing it out to do
Oh man,
a
that
game.
rumor comes out
But that
like
rumor
every
comes
year. I
out
don't.
every year. Yeah, I don't believe it
Yeah,
until we see something about it. But
yeah. I hope so.
yeah, maybe someday. I don't know. I particularly will be okay with that. If they don't do anything, I don't know. Sony does also they also have their blunders. So like I don't necessarily like hold out Sony as like this pedestal where they can't go no wrong. So like I'm not particularly like, oh my god, Sony better start getting their hands on the game. I'm like I'm not until they see something. I'm not particularly like holding my breath on that one or anything like that. In
Yeah.
itself, I'm just excited for more of this horror style. I don't know. Resident Evil has their own style of horror, which is
Mhm.
not necessarily just horror. It's like a good action
Mhm.
horror. And even people say like Resident Evil 4 started that. No, man, have you played Resident Evil 3? You're like a
Mhm.
walking tank. Jail is a walking
Yeah,
tank.
you see the kind of weapons you'll get in Nemesis. Like, yeah, she got some firepower in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe two was a little more horrific, where you're like exploring Raccoon City and the police and everything like that. But Resident Evil 3 really had like a lot of like exploration and literally like machine guns and the grenade launcher you get it pretty early on. I don't know, like
Yeah.
there's like so many action of it. Not to mention like um, Resident Evil. What was that called? Veronica. Literally, the
Yeah.
main character has like two machine guns Like you can
Oh,
dual wield two machine guns from the get go. So like
yeah.
like that kind of stuff. You're like, okay, like the game's always been silly. There's always been like a silly aspect to them. I don't think like they're supposed to be taken super seriously. I know some people do, but I don't really do.
No, you can't. You can't with this series. You just gotta take it for what it is, and just enjoy.
All right. So did you have any other thoughts on Beneventos? I'm sure you do.
I wish we got more about her Donna herself. I think like she's the most probably the most empathetic character. Like she doesn't seem, she actually doesn't really seem to have like any ill will towards anyone. She's just like her doll, pretty much. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. I recommend to look up some lore videos and some discussions about her and history with the dolls and her relationship with Miranda. I think it's kind of fascinating. So I really like, even though it was brief, I did like. I did like, and it wasn't a real boss fight. It's like kind of like a little chase thing, but I think it fit for what
It
the story was
fits
trying to
for
tell.
her. Yeah, it fits for her, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of the things where I feel like Resident Evil did well because uh, everybody has an agenda. Like it's not necessarily all about you, and I feel like that's something that we have to like put an emphasis on. Like Mother Miranda may be like wanting your daughter or whatever, but like
Mhm.
all of these lords, they only do it because they have to. Like none of them have necessarily like any agenda against you or anything like that, and it becomes really apparent by the time that you fight the fish guy.
Yeah, that's our next guy. I guess we can move
Yeah,
on to Moreau as his name.
yeah. I don't know, but he used to be a researcher as well, which is kind of weird because he turns into like this weird blob. I guess he did research on himself or something. I don't know.
No, no. So the reason he's like that because how how they all got their powers because of the whatever the Cadeau or the Megamycete that Miranda puts in them. So every host like reacts differently to it
Hmm.
because of Lady D. She has her blood disease. She mixes differently. So and some become werewolves, which is weird. So I don't know if they went too much detail into that. So every person reacts to that kind of like
It's
in
like a DNA
that
thing.
parasite differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you read the files towards the end of the game where she went over each lord and say they were not a good host to be her daughter, and they specifically say why. And Moreau is like one of them. He just kind of like rejects it altogether and just kind of deform into this weird fish thingy.
Which is honestly, it's disgusting. Like every time that I was like,
Yeah.
when I was fighting him, I was like, but it's also one of the more actiony sequences because it does
Hmm.
make me remind me so much of Resident Evil 4, but at the same time,
Yeah.
like that's one of like the more action packed like boss battles. Like this is like a the layout that you have to fight them, and
Yeah.
he's like a bullet sponge. Like I don't know how he is on other harder difficulties, but he
Oh
must be a
yeah.
pain in the ass to go through. uh
Yeah, you guys shoot all those barrels. They're like 3 or 4 red barrels. You gotta take
right,
advantage
right,
of all of them for sure. Yeah, I did like that the boss was kind of like a big puzzle in a way. Right before we start fighting him, like
right.
running away and pulling all those switches, and it was like kind of tense too, because you don't know where he's gonna come from. So I did really like that part.
Yeah, I think they did some pretty good stuff with his character on the boss. It's also on the shorter side too. Like I think that it's
Yeah.
like the first part, the village part is good, and then you have the castle part, which is also a pretty good length. But then the
Hmm.
two parts in the middle between the dollhouse and this one is pretty small. Like they're like
Yeah, you run
significantly
through it really
shorter.
quick. Yeah, because you're not
Yeah.
really exploring much.
Yeah, you're
No.
pretty much going through it, especially with the fish one because you're literally just going around trying to get to the point where you fight him. That's pretty much all you do there. But yeah, it's good. I really didn't care too much for this one, but the boss battle was pretty nice. I did like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like middle of the pack. I prefer the first 2 parts more. So it didn't overstay its welcome, but they probably could have added some more things. They probably could have took some time from the factory and gave this more time and
Yeah, or
little
even
more
like add
mechanics.
more like fish enemies or
Fish
something like
enemies,
that.
yeah, yeah, they're because you really didn't fight any enemies in
Right.
this
It's
part.
just you're in this part is like if the Benementos house was more of like the horror aspect where you're walking around and it's all
Hmm.
horrific and everything, then this one is more on like the puzzle aspect. where you're just literally just doing puzzles.
Mm. Yeah, it was neat. If you run through it again on like doing like a speed run, you get through this like really quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not surprised about that. I don't think it was like a really big part of the game overall.
No,
But
he's even the story significance. I think I feel like he's like the forgotten one or one like no one respects. So I feel like the game kind of treats him that way.
oh yeah, and he
Um,
himself kind of looks that way too, where
yeah,
where it does look like he's pretty much like like he's the Lord, but he's not really. Like he's not
yeah,
really relevant to that point where he's important or necessary.
yeah.
Which I mean, I get it. It's he's not supposed to be, so it kind of makes sense.
Mm.
Anyway,
Like they could have let me have this before we fight him, but okay, we'll use it for the next boss, I guess.
right, exactly. Alrighty,
Eh,
so the next one it's gonna be the last one as well. Well, I don't think it's the last one. It's the one before the last one, and that's Heisenberg. Is that his name?
Yeah, Carl Heisenberg,
No,
the
he's
the one
he's
that's supposed to be the strongest, as they say.
yeah. Now I do want to say I think he was a waste of a boss battle. I don't know. I
Mm.
I think that to me what could have been is they could have given him a role similar to Lady D, where he's chasing you around.
In the factory, you
In a
mean?
factory because of his
Yeah,
magnetism power and stuff. I feel like he would have been
yeah,
like a cool battle to fight multiple times because I don't know, the whole
yeah. I can
magnetism
see that.
thing was like pretty cool. I actually quite like the idea of him like the
Yeah,
first time that
he.
he just grabs you with like and all this magnet, all this metal just starts coming at you and everything. I was like, oh holy shit, he's gonna be really strong and everything. And
Yeah, he's basically Magneto from X Men.
exactly, yeah. But like when you fight him, you're literally just shooting bullets at him. I thought we were gonna get like an energy beam or something like that to like fight him or something. Because I was like, technically, like he shouldn't be dying from this. He should be like okay, which is kind of
Yeah, he
funny.
can
Cause
probably like absorb all the bullets.
right, or maybe like stop them or like add him into his whatever, which it doesn't happen like that. But it's really funny because that's the more actiony boss battle that you
Mhm.
get. Like it's more like the more Resident Evil 6 aspect of this game, I think.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
get
it's
a
almost like
tank.
a lot of people say it's like a Wolfenstein boss, like like because he becomes like this big metal monstrosity, and you got this like chainsaw tank thing. It's pretty out there.
Oh yeah, and then
But oh
actually, you know what? He's pretty Wolfenstein, especially because a lot of people on Twitter are saying that he's a Nazi or something, or he was a Nazi or
oh,
something like that.
I,
Uh,
I I didn't catch that at all. I didn't catch
yeah,
that part.
they say that he has this World War II German dog tags.
Mm,
So
yeah,
like he was like he fought in World War II for the Nazis or whatever. So like that's literally like a plot line from the Wolfenstein games. So
oh, okay.
that's actually pretty cool that you just mentioned that without even knowing that because
No, I just thought because of like because the kind of like the boss how it transformed. He seemed like a Wolfenstein enemy or a boss.
right, yeah. So like now that I kind of made that connection myself, I was like, oh, like kind of that's kind of cool actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was okay as a boss. I don't think it was like anything special about him. I really wish that they put up maybe develop. They put a lot of
So
like
before he
mystery.
sure, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I really do not care for that fight, and like maybe we should have fought him there first, like in like his human form, then we fought him later, transformed.
Yeah, right, or something like that. Maybe like at the beginning of the game, like instead of him just attacking you or like boom, 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 he made you into like a human Iron Man or something. You can like
Uh,
maybe have like a mini boss fight with him or something. I don't know. There's
yeah,
like all these different ways that they could have approached it. He just kind of he just kind of there. I don't know. His boss battle didn't necessarily like impress me or anything. I thought it was like
yeah.
on the weaker side. I'm hoping that someday they do something different for him. I mean, it's not bad or anything like that, but like I don't know. Maybe they do like DLC. You know how they did some DLC
Yeah, yeah.
For
Seven had
seven.
DLC, couple DLCs. Yeah,
And they kind of
I'm
like
sure they will.
expanding on the different enemies. So there's one with Jack, and there's one with the sun and everything. Maybe they do something like that for the factory or something, like a redeeming thing or something like that. That could be
Yeah, I'd
cool,
be
I think.
totally down for that.
Yeah.
Because I actually really like his character. You know, despite his boss fight, I actually like him. You know, I think he's pretty funny and pretty like, charismatic. So
There's like motivation to his character too. Like he's like
yeah,
uh he wants to stop Mother Miranda because she's doing he's using him and he doesn't want to be used and like all this stuff and everything. To myself, I thought that it was a cool idea that they added like motivation to him. Like he wasn't just
yeah,
a black and white like bad character or anything like that. Well, I'm not saying that he's a good guy or anything like that. I'm just saying like I like that they added some layers to his characters. It's obviously not super deep or anything like that. Like I'm not gonna
yeah.
say it's like the deepest character development or anything like that, but I thought it was a cool like add-on that they did for his character to kind of have something more than just he's just following the rule the Mother Miranda or whatever.
Yeah, he has his own plans. That's why he has his mechanical army to fight her back. I thought it was pretty neat. So I have a line here. I don't know if you caught it during the game. It's when you fought him in the fight. So it's a reference to Chris from RE5. He says, "I'm going to murder that boulder punching asshole, but you're first." Did you catch that one?
Oh no, I didn't catch that at all. That's super funny, man.
Yeah. So he was talking about Chris like I'm gonna murder that boulder punching asshole. I thought that was pretty cool. Call that.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's really funny, man.
Yeah. So I really like that. Right.
Oh man,
But
I wish I had caught that. I didn't at all, but it's pretty funny. Yeah.
yeah, but overall, the factory part, it's not as bad on speed runs. If you know what you're doing, you get through it pretty quickly. I did get tired of the enemies with the thing on their chest and the drills on their hands. Like there's way too many of them. I was like, all right, I kind of get it now.
Yeah,
And
of
then
course. Yeah.
there's one where they can fly. There's like a flying version of that.
Oh, really? On the other one?
No, no, there's part where you have to like shut the spinning fan things. I don't know if you remember. They're like they can fly up and down. I don't know if you remember that part.
I really don't. They're flying
Yeah,
in the air and you have to shoot them?
like it's like a platform where you have to go up some stairs and shoot like the lights on this fan to go up the ladder. And there's like two of these guys where they have like a flight mechanic where they can like hop up from different levels. So maybe you probably killed them before they did that. So you'll see when you run
Oh,
it
yeah,
again.
I
Yeah,
probably killed them before they did that. Yeah, because I
yeah,
every time I saw one, I will just kill them. I had like a bunch of grenades, just like they like not grenades. What are they like?
pipe
Dynamite
bombs.
or like the ones they step on or whatever. I used to just dump them, just in
Yeah,
case, and like they show up and boom, and just like I just shoot them in the chest, like which is pretty funny because they're like strong enemies, but in reality, like if you use the grenade first or like the TNT first, and then you shoot them in the chest, like they're done. So I don't know, they weren't necessarily like really strong characters or anything.
yeah. They're not as menacing. They're just annoying.
Yeah, they're just annoying. They're tanky. They're really tanky. They're supposed to be made like that because obviously, like they cover their chest. They cover their chest to where they need to shoot them and everything. So they probably add a couple of shots there and everything, but nothing special to them. I don't know. I felt like that was the part where it's kind of annoying, like almost like too annoying to a part.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I can't complain too much. I think that it wasn't like super annoying or anything. Like it didn't ruin the experience of the game or anything like that. Um,
Yeah, you don't look forward to fighting more of them. That's the thing.
yeah, exactly, just like that. Yeah, you don't necessarily be like, oh man, I really want to play the factory again. I don't think anybody goes for that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think we move on. You want to talk about the Chris segments real quick before we talk about the final boss and
Sure,
ending?
sure. So
Yeah,
I was kind of like almost like shocked whenever you see Ethan die, quote quote die, or like the Mother Miranda just kind of
yeah.
takes out his heart, and you're kind of
Hmm.
like almost like surprised because it's like so anticlimactic, like she just goes, pulls out his heart, and then he jumps up to Chris. Like there's like no moment of like to sit and just kind of comprehend that Ethan died there momentarily, and he just kind of jumps to Chris. I honestly don't feel like the Chris segment was necessary particularly because
Yeah,
it's 100% Resident Evil 6 again. Like
yeah.
Chris is a
Call of Duty,
walking
Resident Evil.
tank.
Yeah.
Like he's not fucking around. Like both of his weapons are basically automatic weapons, and he has like this giant laser gun thing that he uses,
Hmm.
which obviously does have some charging time or whatever. But like other than that, like just seeing it use it, like even on like boss battles and stuff, I was kind of like, I don't know, like Chris is really tanky already, but like the fact that he had like the weapons or something, it would have been cool if they had added uh, punches and kicks for him and everything. Like
Oh
like when
yeah,
you
like the
hit a
melee.
weakness and you can like hit them or something like that, because it will show like how strong Chris is and everything. And maybe like a different gameplay style to Chris, opposed
Yeah,
to Ethan.
I did not expect for him to be in the main game. I thought they were gonna do like they did with Seven, where he gets his own DLC, and like whenever he's off screen, we don't know what he's been up to. So I thought they were gonna do some kind of DLC, like Chris DLC, where we
Right.
play as him. So I mean, I didn't mind it. The section wasn't that long, but I agree. They really didn't have to include. They probably could have just shown a cutscene and it would have been fine, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Especially like almost towards the end when he has to blow up like this wall of the moss or whatever. That
Hmm.
kind of annoying me because like we're getting attacked by like zombies and stuff, and like you're kind of like, okay, well, I just want to continue here, and you're being
Yeah, I
attacked by
know.
like all these werewolves, and there's like a massive hordes of werewolves just coming at you and everything like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I really liked seeing Chris again. Like it was nice. Like it was like a uh, like there's a moment where whenever after Chris dies, not Chris, Ethan dies, and he just like he takes a smoke and he's just like sitting down, kind of
Yeah,
like, oh man, it happened again. Like more people died
yeah, like
because of me or whatever.
shit. Here we go again.
Yeah, and everything like that moment was like a good Resident Evil moment. Like you feel the age, like you feel like everything that he's
Yeah.
gone through and everything. So like I personally like that part. I don't necessarily feel like we needed to play that part. Like it could have been a cutscene, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like it added runtime, but I don't necessarily feel like it was necessary or anything like that.
I think they're easing us in. I might jump ahead a little bit to the ending, but I think he's gonna be a big part of the next game. Probably be one of the main playable characters. So maybe they're just like inserting him here just to get us ready.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? I wouldn't be opposed if they polished the style of what they did with six, where there's branching paths with different characters. Like they
Hmm.
could be like there could be like some Leon aspects, and there could be like some
Yeah.
Chris aspects, and everything like that, and you kind of like see all of them come back in like some shape or form, and maybe have like I forgot what's Ethan Starr's name?
Oh, Rose or
Rose,
Rosemary's her
yeah,
full
yeah,
name. Yeah.
Rosemary, yeah. Maybe have like a part where Rosemary is involved or something like that. I don't know. Now,
Yeah.
I have a question, and we can jump into it now, or we can talk about it after Mother Miranda. But do you think Rosemary like grew fast, like because she's special, or do you think
Yes,
like
that
if
that
it's fast forward in time?
I think that's a theory that like she's similar to Evelyn in Seven because I think she grew up fast too. Because remember at the end she became an old woman.
Hmm.
So and that last boss fight. So I think it's not real time. So I don't know what the timing would be, but I'm pretty sure she has some special things. And I think even as a baby, if
Hmm.
like read the files in the house in the beginning, I think they showed her as a fat big baby. So I think she does have like a big growth thing going on. So I think
Yeah,
I think that's a
and we don't know,
legit theory.
and we also don't know what Mother Miranda did to her either. Maybe she
Yeah.
was trying to get her to the age of her daughter, and maybe she
Mhm.
did something to her to get her to that age, opposed to just being a baby. Because
Yeah.
her daughter was like a grown person. It wasn't a child.
Mhm.
So maybe that's why she was like, maybe that's why she grew. I don't know. Like it's like all these theories you can throw at it, but I wouldn't personally be opposed to like something like where you
Mhm.
play as her or something. It's just gotta be well made to like it makes sense story wise. Like I don't want it
Yeah.
just to be to be like
Yeah,
a throwaway thing where they're like, oh, she's just there, part of the world, but they never really visit her again. It will really be
yeah,
a waste of kind of like storyline if they don't bring it up.
yeah. The interesting comment from one person in the chat, Matthew, the Holy God. I hope the reverse they use Chris RE8 model. I totally agree because I think in the trailer they're using that stupid RE7 Chris model, right? And,
Oh,
and
they
everyone
are.
hates
They
that.
are. Yeah, agreed. I played the demo or the beta, whatever it
Uh,
was, and they were using the other one. I think they're
n-
gonna change that. I hope they do because
they have to.
holy shit, it's
They
so
delayed it
bad.
for a reason. Yeah, they delayed it for a reason. They gotta add the best Chris in there. Like I love this RE8 Chris, so
Now,
he's
I
gotta be
wonder
canon.
if they're also gonna add Ethan as a playable character
I
because
mean, we've seen his face.
there is
Yeah,
a
we've seen
model
his
of
face, but
him.
yeah, but he always does seem like a faceless protagonist in a lot of ways. I don't know if they will. I'm not
Mm,
sure, but they
I
can
don't
do
know.
something with his jacket. His jacket's pretty iconic at this point.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. So I don't know. I'm okay if they do or not. I'm not necessarily like oh we need to have Ethan, but I feel like after Village, I'm like it'd be cool.
Yeah,
Maybe he has the fancy looking shotgun.
it,
Whatever.
it it's the least he deserves if he doesn't come back. Which I guess we're jumping too far ahead now at the ending. But we want to talk about Mother Miranda now. I guess
All
that
right,
last
yeah. I guess
boss
we can
fight
talk about
section.
more Miranda. Any thoughts on Chris' story part or anything like that? Any final thoughts on that?
Um, Love seeing him back. Love seeing interesting like from the story stuff. Seems like the BSAA is involved, and he I don't know if he I kind of lost what's going on. He's not part of them anymore. He did started
Yeah.
BSAA with Jill, so I don't know when he left them, but apparently they're there with their own motivations and army as well. So
Hmm.
I think that's gonna be a big part of the next game.
Well,
They
what's up
didn't
with him
mention it.
and working with Umbrella? Because that's what it was on Seven, right? He was working with Umbrella now.
It's called Blue Umbrella, and I think that's I don't know exactly what that company is
They don't
supposed to
really
do. I don't know what
explain, right? Yeah, they don't really explain
yeah
this, and then
they don't really tell you
uh,
because Umbrella is done pretty much as far as the it's part of the story, in the timeline. So this
yeah.
Blue Umbrella came in its place, but and I think there's supposed to be an
Hmm.
anti like virus thing. So I don't really know. There's so many damn
Yeah, I don't know. And
organizations. It's hard to keep track sometimes.
right, of course. And then it's also hard to keep track of like the what happened to certain characters like Jill. Like the last time we
Yeah,
see Jill is Resident Evil 5, right?
where the hell is Jill? My favorite character. They're like, I know we just got the remake, but they have not shown her enough love. She needs to be a big part of the next game. Old
Yeah,
lady Jill.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think I don't I think Capcom is kind of afraid of kind of like having like a wrap up where they can explain
Mm.
everything because I mean it's probably gonna be like an actual ending if they do something like that. Which obviously
Yeah.
the way that they are doing Resident Evil games is not because it's making a lot of money right now and
Oh hell
everything.
yeah.
But I personally would like to see like a good game where they kind of bring the characters together and like one big mission or something like that, and they explain what's
Yeah.
going on with everybody and everything. Like, what is everybody up to? Because personally, I don't watch the movies, man. Like if there's a movie to me,
No.
like only the games are canon, but there's like books and movies and like there's gonna be an animated TV show like of the birth of Umbrella from
Yeah.
like Wesker's perspective or something like that. So like there's like all this stuff that I'm kind of like like if it's not a game I don't really care much for it. Like I'm like I could do love the lore of Resident Evil and everything, but I want it in a game. I'm a fan of the game, so I personally want to
Yeah.
see like more of the gameplay aspect and everything. Like if they
Yeah.
make
Same
it
here,
of the
man.
game.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So jumping into Mother Miranda, I guess, kind of like to bring this up, which is funny because Matt over here, I was telling you earlier, like he got he got stuck in that fight for like 45 minutes. He kept dying.
Is he playing? Was he playing on hardcore? Because I was
No,
stuck in there for a while too.
he just played on normal. Like
Oh no, no. On normal should be pretty simple. If you have all the guns and you upgrade them, it should be pretty piece of cake.
yeah, me too. Like that's what I was thinking. Because somebody else asked me like, what would you rate the boss battle? I was like, it's like a 2 or a 3, maybe a 4. Like it's not hard at all. Like previous boss battle were probably harder than that. But
Yeah,
Molly Miranda is
she's
just a bullet sponge. Really, that's what it is. It's just a long.
yeah she's only hard on hardcore and Village of Shadows. On standard or whatever it's called, you should have an easy time. Plus, if you played any Resident Evil game, you should know to save your magnum bullets for the final boss.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I had like I had or if you played Resident Evil 4, you can the upgrade gives you some extra bullets, so you're good
That's
to go
that's
there.
that that's the special strat is to not reload and wait till you upgrade the the capacity. Then you
Exactly,
get
yeah.
free
I
bullets.
always do that. I always get the final
Yep.
upgrades once I'm done with everything. I'm like, okay, now I can buy the upgrade for the bullets, so I can get some extra bullets and everything. That's always the strategy for these games. I personally was impressed with the like coming together, like this final boss battle and everything like that. She isn't particularly hard, but I do appreciate the fact that they want you to use the mechanics like the blocking, which is like a big thing on this game. And like as long as you're like using a combination of the blocking and like shooting when you need to shoot, and like you're doing the different stuff and everything, it's not a hard battle at all. I think it's like a pretty easy, like you go through the motions and everything. But it was a grand finale. I think like they did a pretty good job. Was kind of like wrapping up the final boss battle and everything.
Yeah, it felt pretty epic. It had a lot of phases. Just feels like a real finale kind of boss. So it's very Resident Evil like as far as final boss goes.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And like she's shouting things at you and everything like that, and like like exposition like at the very end. You're like fighting her, and she's like giving you these lines and everything. They did a good job. I don't necessarily like her too much. I think that she was probably a little underutilized. Like she just shows up at the
Yeah.
very end. Personally, I think that they should have done more moments where she shows up. For example, the
Mhm.
very beginning of the game when there's this sequence with the people that rescue you with the shelter and everything, and you come out and she's like killing one of the villagers, and then she never
Mhm.
shows up again.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like they could have done is add more parts because I don't know if they had more parts where she shows up and kind of like maybe taunts at you, or like like maybe like a mini boss fight in between like levels or something like that. Whenever you get another part of Rose and you put it on the umbrella thing, you get like a
Mhm.
like a flashback of like something that happened a while ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mhm.
like instead of a flashback, maybe she shows up and like taunts you, or like something happens. I feel like that would have been like a good point to kind of develop her, because all you know is from word of mouth. All you know about her is from like things that show up, or like people that talk about her a little bit, like, oh, she's an immortal, or oh, she's always taking care of this village, or she created these monsters. But you don't really like know much about her, like her character and everything. Like it's really just about her saving her daughter, or like bringing her daughter back to life or whatever.
Yeah, they did build her up a lot through other characters, and towards the end when we play as Chris and go to her hideout, whatever, they have all those files and things about her. Maybe they could have like spread that out throughout the game. Like maybe it wouldn't make sense to have her personal stuff out, but I think it would have been better if they leave like breadcrumbs here and there in the village to know more
Right.
about her, even though she doesn't show up physically. Maybe to like building towards the end and then the final battle, I think it would have been better to not
Uh-huh.
have a big lore dump right at the end to read everything, to like kind of spread it out a little bit, and she could have showed up and
Right,
said
exactly.
something too. So I agree.
Also, I love that they revealed that she was the old lady too, the old
Mhm.
lady that you meet at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is funny because she yells at you like random stuff. You're like, oh, she's just a crazy old lady. She's like, everybody's gonna die or whatever. You're like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
you lady or whatever. And then she talks about like Rosemary and stuff and everything. And she's like, in the castle or whatever. But she's like literally throwing you at the castle because she wants you to get
and
captured or whatever.
yeah, and
But
then another thing is they establish her as a shapeshifter, and maybe they should have done more of that. And maybe not just the old lady. She could have been other characters that like she trying to pretend to be. So I think maybe they should have done more with
yeah.
that.
Oh, even like
Right.
the girl that you meet in the
Yeah.
companion, if she had
Yeah.
been an actual companion, but turns out that she's actually Mother Miranda. Oh man, that could have been such a pretty cool plot twist. Like the entire time
Yeah.
you're with this companion, like maybe building a relationship or something, and then at the end, yeah, like she attacks you and like takes your heart out. Like that same cutscene and everything, and it turns out
Yeah.
that she was like the Mother Miranda all along or something like that. That would have been a
Yeah.
pretty cool stuff. Kind of like uh, the opposite of like Luis from Resident Evil 4, where he
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
shows up from time to time, and he's like, "Hey, I'm investigating the situation here," and like he gives you the cure or whatever. And instead of all this stuff, you actually get like the Mother Miranda. She's with you, and like she plays like a similar role, and at the end, it's
yeah,
just Miranda fucking with you. Like that would have been a
Mhm.
cool like plot twist or something. I think.
Yeah. Definitely huge twist. You got to pitch that to Capcom.
It was
Giving
like,
good ideas here.
Capcom, why didn't you do that? That would have been nice.
Yep. So after the fight, how do you feel about us losing Ethan already as a character? Do you think he's really
Honestly,
dead?
I think he's not gonna stay dead. I think that probably like they
Yeah.
maybe like recollect his remains or something, uh, and maybe the Blue Umbrella like put him together or something. I don't know. It's really hard to explain because we don't know what he is. Like we know he's some sort of molded, but he's
Yeah.
his powers are definitely about regeneration and like he literally walked around without a heart. So like so like
Yeah.
something's going on where like you can he can be put back together. So like I don't think he's all done yet. I do think there's maybe something that they can do with his character still, especially because they bother so much to develop him in this game. Like you can say about
Mhm.
whatever about Ethan in Resident Evil 7. Some people said he was really bland and everything, but in this game, he was very much a three-dimensional character with like a lot of emotions. You're like not just his wife, but his daughter, and like going the extra mile to find her and everything like that. It's not just like I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job as far as like showing that he's like a caring father. In fact, even on the trophies, like Father of the Year or whatever, like like you get
Yeah.
those trophies about it. So like like they're shaping him to be like this father figure that is trying to do like the good thing for his daughter or whatever. So I personally would like to see him again.
Yeah, the rule of video games: never believe any death off screen. We didn't really see it happen. I know they dropped like a mini nuke, but it's Resident Evil, so
It's like
he can
I
come
know,
back.
I know they drop a mini nuke, but we have seen worse, and like we everybody believed Wesker was dead, and he's just still alive
Yeah.
a few times. So like
Hmm.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it happening, but yeah, I personally feel like he's gonna be back in some kind of shape or form, even like maybe the BSAA. Maybe they pick him up and like, put him back together or something. Maybe he's a boss battle like an evil guy in the next one. I don't know. They'll
Yeah,
figure it
yeah, I
out.
can see that. Maybe like Rose has to like bring him back to reality. He'll be like a boss fight, then it'll be an emotional reunion. I can see that.
Yeah, that'll be cool too. Like that will really like show like a other aspect of the game. I don't know. Like we're obviously digging into like our own theories here, but there's a lot of potential with the series moving forward. I think that Capcom
Mhm.
has done a pretty good job as far as like setting some seeds for sequels of the games and everything. And I'm down for whatever they decide to do. I think that they've been doing such a good job as far as like teasing this game and like building it forward. Because this game was teased like a year or two ago, and since then like they've been continuously doing some good stuff for the character and everything. So I don't know. I'm excited for the next game already. Like whenever the next Resident Evil comes out, I'm all up for it.
Oh yeah, I'm there day one easily. Some people are saying that the four remake is gonna tie into all of this. Do you think that could happen? That Leon might be involved a little bit. Maybe like they'll do four similar to the original, maybe, but then they'll try to hint towards Leon moving towards the same path as all these guys, and after four will be the next mainline one, and that's when
Mhm.
he'll get involved. What do you think?
I think that makes sense. I think that there was a leak. I don't necessarily want to call it a rumor, but there was a leak where I think that they delayed Resident Evil 4 because of some they called it some like creative differences. I don't think they were
Yeah.
creative differences as much as they were like, oh, we need to make it tie in into Village. like
Yeah.
somehow, so they can bring the character back. Because if you do the math, I don't know, I don't really want to call it a math, but if you look at like the way they do Resident Evil games, each time that they switch protagonist to another protagonist, because they usually have like one or two games with the same protagonist, and they jump around to
Mhm.
another protagonist, another storyline. And obviously, like,
Yeah.
while Chris hasn't been a protagonist, he's pretty much been involved in this storyline. So I think it's pretty much time to like bring another Resident Evil protagonist for the next game or whatever. So if they did Resident Evil 4 remake, and then they bring like Leon for the next game, that it will make sense. Even if he's not the main character, he could be like a side
Yeah.
character. Although I personally would like to see if they do Resident Evil 2 style with these two storylines and they converge together. Maybe they could do like Jill,
Like a
or
oh
like,
like a AB campaign kind of thing.
yeah, like that. And then like both campaigns kind of walk towards the same ending, or like, and then you have
Mm.
like two point of views or whatever. Although I do have my complaints about the remake on two, because both of the campaigns show that there's like plot holes in one and the other.
Oh, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes
like
absolutely no fucking sense, and that's funny, especially when you throw Jill in Resident Evil 3 into the mix, because
yeah.
it's like it actually doesn't make sense. You're kind of like, okay, well, what's the correct timeline here? They don't do any effort into like,
Yeah. So yeah, with the main line, I think they probably want to keep it pretty like straightforward. So they probably won't be there'll probably be multiple characters you play as, but I don't think there'll be like a side B side kind of campaign. I think it
yeah.
would just be like here's a Chris section, here's a Rose section, maybe a Jill section. So I don't know how
Hmm.
many characters they're trying to do.
Yeah, it depends if they try to do like an all-star kind of game or like story and everything. So, but I'll be down if they do something with
Yeah.
like different characters at once, everything. I'll be excited. Matthew says someone was talking about they think Ethan may be alive and Rose has to save him. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, I can see that.
yeah, I can see that. I think we were talking about this earlier. I don't know. Maybe there's like so many ways they could do this. I personally just want to see like Rebecca and and
Yeah,
Jill and
Where the hell's Rebecca? I want an like it doesn't have to be a male. I want an all ladies Resident Evil. Give me Jill, give me Claire, give me Rebecca. You know, something like that. Maybe like Revelations 3 or something. You know?
right. Yeah, I personally don't really like the Revelation games too much. They're like,
They're okay.
they're
They're fine.
okay. They're mini games, and you can see like the
Yeah,
budget for they're budget games really.
yeah,
Like look at
yeah,
how grand Resident Evil Village feels, or like
yeah,
Seven,
yeah,
and the other Revelations games. They just feel like so much like smaller and more compact and everything. Which I don't know. I
yeah.
will be down if they do either way, but I personally want to see, like you said, like I want to see the older characters. I want to see Jill. I want to see um, Rebecca. I want to see like the rest of the team. I want to see Ada
Yeah,
again. Which, by the way, I thought Ada was in Village, and there were actually some concept art. Did you ever see that?
yeah. I saw that she had like a kind of like a that crow mask, kind of like
Hmm.
that. Yeah,
So,
I did see that.
originally, when he gets kidnapped by Miranda, where she
Mhm.
like drops, where he just wakes up in the village. Supposedly, she was supposed to show up there and rescue him, and
Interesting.
them being like she being part of the story and everything. And I thought it was gonna be the case when you go and you go to the church, and there's like a base set there with like a computer and everything.
Hmm.
You seen that? You saw that, right?
In the beginning, right
In
at
the
the
village,
church.
yeah, there's like a
Yeah, yeah.
computer, there's like a whole set, and it says like, oh, this is gonna be my new like, but they don't really ever talk about it again. Like you go there many times, but you don't know what's up. So maybe the DLC is like
Mm.
with Ada, and she was there all along, but maybe like having her own storyline, kind of how they did
Mm.
with
Like separate ways at the
yeah, separate
RE4.
ways in RE4. Yeah.
And that'd be kind of weird for her to have her own DLC and she didn't even show up in the main game. That'd be really interesting. So that artwork is there for a reason. I don't think they just drew that for fun. I'm pretty sure she played some kind of part.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and again, it will be cool if they really do something, but I don't know. I'll be down if they work on it or not. I'm not necessarily like sold in the idea of it, but the fact that there's already like this stuff going on and everything, that where they literally worked on making a model for her and everything. I just want to see what
Yeah.
they do. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Matthew says Leon has to return. I think he needs to return. But if
Mhm.
we see Ada, we're probably gonna see Leon in some kind of
Yeah,
capacity.
they're kind of a package deal. I think you, especially with Ada, I think if you have her, you gotta have Leon there as
Right.
well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm open to ideas. I'm open to whatever they do next. I think it's in good hands right now. Resident Evil. I'm sorry. Capcom is in like a pretty good spot with the Resident Evil franchise and Devil May Cry. I think like they found their formula where they can easily pump out 10 out of 10 games for at least for me. Like they're
Yeah.
not okay, maybe not a 10 out of 10, but they're pumping out like a solid 9 out of 10 game. So
Yeah.
I think they're doing a pretty good job. I don't know.
Yeah, they've done great. I mean, they don't have to be. I'm happy that we're spoiled to get one every year, but if they want to take longer, that's fine. If they're still this quality, I don't mind at all. So just keep it coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Now, do you think we're gonna get a Resident Evil 4 next year, or do you think we're gonna take a break until 2023?
I think they plan to, but if it's true that they're getting it reworked and they still have a lot of work to do, I think they do want, since RE4 is such a special game to a lot of people, I think they want to make this one like they want to do it right. So I think they do aim next year, but well, probably not. I think it'll be 2023.
Yeah, I think so
Being
too.
realistic, yeah.
Being realistic, like you said, it just makes sense that they have to wait a little bit, especially because of some circumstances that they had when it comes to like ideas and like we were talking about, like there's like they're having some conflict with interest as far as like
Yeah.
what direction they wanted to do it and everything. I'm okay if they wait a year just kind of to figure things out and everything. They obviously have a lot of ideas going on and everything, and I'm fine with them just kind of like taking their time. Like one or 2 years not gonna hurt anybody, and they're definitely doing a good job and everything. So um, I don't know. Matthew says that RE4 BR. I don't know. I think that I definitely believe that this game Village is gonna have a BR form. I'm not sure if 7 is gonna. 4 is gonna have a BR. What do you think?
Well, for they already announced it for the Oculus Quest or whatever. So not for the remake, but just it's just gonna be a VR like for the original RE4. So it'd be kind of redundant to have another VR game for RE4 since they already licensed that to
Uh,
I think
it's a
Oculus
third
Quest
party.
have their own
Yeah,
development.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it's a
third
third
party.
party. It's not
It's not
really
it's not
Capcom.
Capcom. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
definitely Oculus
but
Quest
it's
doing that. I'm
yeah, but
yeah.
it's kind of redundant, right? To have two different RE4 VR games. I think that's just gonna be its own thing, and this RE4 remake is just gonna be its own game, and we'll probably get VR for Village. I think.
Right, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be excited. I personally want to see what they do with the BR2, the PSVR2,
Hmm.
whenever they do that. Because I'm a fan of BR. Actually, I love BR. But I want to see what they do. I'll be
Yeah,
down to.
I didn't pick up the first PSVR, but I do plan to pick up this new one up because I know it's gonna be much better and less cords.
Yeah, that's the one complaint that I can tell you about this game is like the chords. It's super annoying. Like I hate having to go and like pull the cords to like connect it and everything like that. That's like my gripe with it. And that and you really need a lot of space for the thing because it's a camera thing and like the lights and everything like that. I don't know. They
Yeah.
had to figure it out somehow. They haven't really figured it out yet, obviously. But if you look at everything with the other VR headsets and everything, the technology is like I don't know. I don't know if you guys seen like, the Oculus Quest and everything, but like the technology is like way more advanced than people think it is. Like a lot of people think it's still like the Wii U kind of thing or like the Xbox what is it called? Xbox what?
Connect.
Connect, yeah, yeah. A lot of people really do believe that it's like on that. Like, no, the VR scene is like really advanced. Like, once you play VR, like it's really even hard to like play regular games. And I'm just talking about like the PSVR, not even talking about the Quest, which I played, and it's incredible. Like, have you seen the Quest or like the Oculus, the other Oculus that they have?
I've seen it, but I haven't tried it. I haven't tried much VR, unfortunately,
So
but I can't afford it.
no, of
They're really
course, it's like
expensive.
it's like buying
Yeah.
another PS5.
Yeah.
So they have this almost like sensors on like the four corners of your room. So they literally your entire room becomes part of the game, and it can track pretty much your movement from your feet to your arms to your face and everything. And between everything that is going on, it can track everything you're doing. Uh, and obviously with everything that you can do, like the what is it? They have Skyrim VR, they have
Mhm.
Doom VR, and everything like that. They're like functional, 100% functional games. So like when people see them and are like, oh, it's just a silly thing. I'm like, no, it's becoming a really big thing. Like in the next few years, like, and I know PlayStation and Sony they developed this game into like a whole. Not this game, the console into like an actual VR center. So they just haven't
Mhm.
announced a new one, but I know they patented a bunch of stuff for it already. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do, but I'm pretty hopeful and excited for it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not a gimmick. It's gonna be the technology just gonna keep being better, and like they just keep finding ways to improve it, and it's gonna be more immersive. And I think more games gonna implement it. So I'm pretty excited to see future of that. And as soon as VR 2 comes out, I'm definitely gonna give it a try for PlayStation.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm very excited to see what they're gonna do here.
Any closing thoughts for
Alrighty,
Village?
well, I think we're done here with my the podcast for Village. I final thoughts. I really like the game. I know a lot of people are like waiting on a sale or anything, and you know what? I get it. A lot of people see the 10 hours as like the running time, but honestly, I already put like 20 hours into it. With the replays and everything. It's a game worth picking up because of the amount of like additional gameplays that you can do, like the
Yeah.
mercenaries. It comes with
Hmm.
reverse whenever that comes out, and it comes and all this replayability that it could. I personally think is worth it because of being a Resident Evil fan, but like seeing people just jump right into the series is also I kind of understand also like why I see people being like, oh, okay, like you haven't tried the other games, so like whenever you wait until you play the other Resident Evil games because they're not any longer than this one.
Yeah, and the thing that's why I like so much about the series, and one I really value is the replayability. Because even though a game can be short or long, doesn't matter. But some games you played once, you never think about again, right? And with these Resident Evil games, like there's so many different ways you can play. It's like let's do a speed run, let's do one where you just use the knife. We could do one where I don't save or die, and one where I just use this kind of weapon. And there's like infinite ammo. It's just so many unlockables and like incentives and reasons to come back. So it definitely stretches that 10 hour like myth, whatever you want to call it. So if you enjoy your time, you're gonna come back for more for sure.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many ways to play this game. Like it's not just like a one and over with. Like there's like you were saying, like you unlock all these different weapons. Like all the weapons in the base game, in New Game Plus, there's like all these other weapons that you can unlock as long as you have the points and everything. So there's all these variations and everything you can get. It definitely a game worth picking up if you haven't already. There's really no reason to wait unless you don't have the money for it. Like I get it. Like if you need to save money or wait for and everything. But I personally, I enjoy the game a lot. Like if you're a fan of horror games, of Resident Evil games, there's no reason to wait.
Very well said.
Alrighty, well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for checking it out. If you've been here in the podcast all the way to the end, I pretty appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and everything like that. Any thoughts from you before you want to wrap it up?
About the game,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely love it. A natural progression from seven, and made a ton of improvements and a celebration of the series. Really enjoyed it. I need to play it a few more times, but I think I would put it in my top five in the series. Pretty sure.
Oh, right on, right on. Well, that's cool, dude. That's a pretty high standard right there. So I'm glad you liked it this much. I don't know if it's gonna be on my top five, but it's gotta be pretty close. It's definitely up there on the thing, but I'll have to do my own ranking to know to find out. I haven't like thought about it too much, but it may
Yeah.
be too. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Please subscribe to Devil May Pies channel. It is gonna be in the description. I'm gonna go ahead and share a link here to his channel as well. So check it out. His channel. He does pretty cool stuff with different games and everything. He does do a lot of reviews and talks about gaming in general. So check out his channel here. There's a link there in the chat if you guys wanna check him out. Subscribe to his channel and everything. Well, thank you so much for watching this, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.